Everyone, what's up? This is one of my soul level 90 builds. He's actually soul level 92. Um, and this has historically been my dark build, my Ashen Nun character. And I've been playing around with it a little bit. Historically, I never spent time in tools like Souls Planner or Muujin Monkey. But I had both Faith and Int at 23, and I decided to see if I could make some improvements. And long story short, returns to Faith and Int at this level are enormous. They're between 6 and 7 points of AR for each point in either Int or Faith, and it didn't seem to matter which. So I was able to take Faith up to 30 and Int to 25. Now I could have done it reverse or both at 27 or one at 28 and one at 27, but I thought having Faith at 30, it would be better to focus in one rather than splitting them evenly just in case I wanted to use miracles. And I do, because I use this as one of my Spear of the Church invasion builds. And going and making this video, I realized my Iron Round Shield had never been upgraded, and I'm not sure how that happened. It was a mistake. But I also made this a much more poisey character. I've used the Murakumo on non-poise builds, and it works pretty well. But it definitely is to your advantage if you can trade. And you'll notice again, no Hornet Ring. I'm trying to poise up. I think my poise break is around 35, which is really good for this character. And he just does a metric shit ton of damage. I was actually able to increase my damage output from around 550 AR to about 600. And you might think, well, 10% AR increase, but a 10% increase in AR is not a 10% increase in damage. It's probably more on the order of 25% increase in damage because of the way flat defenses work. And you can see here some of the weapons I swap to. I'll swap to the mace if I'm going up against something like a split leaf or a ring knight paired greatsword build, so I can persevere through it and punish the shit out of the L1 spammers. I've been using the crossbow a lot too. I think I've talked quite a bit about that. You'll see that come into play. I've been working on my free aim skills, but definitely rocking the light crossbow for weight reasons. Although on some builds I've actually switched to the heavy crossbow. Dan Wiley actually made a suggestion in one of my videos, and it's got better AR, and he says better fashion. I am fashion impaired, so I can't really tell the difference. I decided to invade in the I think it's called like the dreg heap. I typically had stayed away from the DLCs just because I tended to run into a lot of nasty ganks. But that wasn't the case here at this bonfire. And just watch the damage this weapon does. Oh man. One swing and one roll catch. Now he didn't have much vigor and his armor sucked. There's nothing really all that special about that invasion, but this was like one of my first ones, and I just could not believe the damage I was doing with this thing. Just absolutely ridiculous. And of course, all my weapons are dark infused. Invading here is like an invader's playground. Now, nobody used the seed on me, interestingly. I had probably 15 or 20 invasions, about 5 of which I'll show. But I didn't have anyone try to use a seed on me, which if I were being invaded here, and I didn't want to just have a straight up fight, that would definitely be one of the first things that I would do. And then I would probably bolt for the roots and head up to get out of the angel's line of fire. Because down here, it's poison, it's the angel shooting at you, and then you've got the herald knights patrolling as well. So this is just a bad place for hosts to want to try and engage. But they're afraid of the angels, so they camp out here, which is about the worst thing that they could do. I was trying to stealth up on these guys, but I think I got a little too close and they saw me, so I decided to just come in here and start hitting them with crossbow bolts. So they're in a pretty shitty situation here. If I were them, I would run up for the roots, pop a seed, and then run up there. And there I lock on, but now I realize my mistake. I take off the lock, and I've been working on my free aim crossbows quite a bit, and they've gotten a lot better now, where I can pretty reliably hit people. And here they're so focused on me, the host isn't paying attention to the curse, and ends up dying. And this summon right here, you'll see him a couple more times. He was pretty active in this area while I was invading, and I think I ran into him like 3 or 4 times. Actually, probably ran into him like 7 or 8 times, but in the number of invasions in which he's showcased today, you'll see him a few times. And so obviously, you want to have a lot of poison moss with you here. And in terms of like invasion rings, I'm rocking the obscuring ring, which really pays off in a number of invasions, and you can close the gap with these guys. And that Sunbro didn't see me. He's a caster. I mean, just look at that damage. He doesn't stand a chance. And the truth is, most hosts and most phantoms don't really understand hyper armor and how it works. And so they'll just get in there and start spamming their straight swords. This guy seems to have some idea of what he's doing with respect to rolling. But even a lot of hosts who seem to know what they're doing with rolling, basically you hit them once or twice and then they start to full-on panic and start forgetting how to roll properly. And you can see that's exactly what happened with that guy there. And we'll see that happen a few more times. And in fact, it actually happens to me, embarrassingly enough, and I'll show you when that happens. So these angel rays are like host GPS. They're so awesome. I really regret not invading here more frequently. So I'm trying to kind of come up around on their flank here. I obviously saw the Sunbro over there. The host is most likely with him. I circle around over here, but I don't see him down there, and I think, well, they probably ran ahead. While I wasn't watching, sure enough, I just see them pop up on the screen. So I'm going to head off and investigate. And I hear that somebody's branching. I don't know if you can hear it. I've got the game volume turned down. But I hear him branch. So I want to make sure, first of all, he's not up here, because once I drop down, it's an enormous ass pain to come all the way back around to get up. But I spot him. And I absolutely pancake him. And I was really hoping to get the roll catch there. I really thought he'd roll in the other direction, but I was wrong. And here the host comes out of his branching as well to try to give chase. And this sort of scenario where I'm chasing one phantom while another phantom or the host chase after me from behind is so reminiscent of the Spear of the Church invasions, because that's like 90% of it. That and turn and burns. This build, though, is actually, obviously both my a normal invasion build, but it's also a Spear of the Church build. And so there's a couple compromises you kind of have to make when you're doing normal invasion. So the first of which is you've got to have some faith for regen, for healing. And I've got my faith, I think, set at 18, so I can use the Filianor Chime. If I did not have that requirement, if I were not doing Spear of the Church invasions with this guy, I would be able to put those points probably in Dex. So this guy's being pretty mindful of his rolls, but the pressure gets to him and he starts panic rolling. I'm able to roll catch him. And this host here actually you can see him dancing there. That alone is a sign of somebody who has PvP experience. His rolls are pretty good. He's waiting and rolling on reaction and not panicking too badly. He's aware of the hyper armor. You can tell he's not just running in to mix it up with me. And there you can see he took out the parrying dagger, and he was in like the first frame or two of his parry animation, but I don't give him enough time to react. I purposely come in and kind of dance around a little bit. And by the time the actual animation starts, you just don't have enough time to parry that on reaction. Definitely not with a parrying dagger. And here again, another host who knows his rolls, but he's feeling the pressure here. Still doing a good job of escaping, but he heals in my face. And you can see I hit him for over 600 points of AR, which is obviously more than a single Astus, which is really, really nice. It helps keep a lot of pressure on people. In between a lot of these invasions, I was doing Spear of the Church invasions. And I was thinking about doing another Spear of the Church video, but quite honestly, most of the folks in the Spear fights now, it's just the host, or maybe the host and a Phantom, and they just aren't very interesting. It's really only kind of fun when there's like 3 and 4 people, because it feels like a real achievement when you finally smoke them. So here I'm a little bit wary because I see there's at least 3 people. I saw somebody has Crucifix of the Mad King. That weapon always makes me edgy. This guy's got a Murakumo, I think. He sees me coming up from behind and rolls out of the way. So these guys were actually pretty good. He tries to get me, he gets me successfully with a turn and burn. And I'm not sure why, if we traded, he was able to come out of hit stun quick enough to be able to do a follow-up R1. I don't really understand why that works. I wouldn't have thought that would have been possible. There he goes for an ill-thought-out parry, blows all of his stamina, and gets smoked by the angels. This guy doesn't seem nearly as good. He doesn't have nearly the sense of spacing. That weapon hurts an awful lot. I've got a soul level 120 strength build that uses the exile, and it just rips people apart. And unfortunately, if I'd had the Hornet Ring on here, I would have killed this guy. And he's poisoned. I thought for sure he would die. He gets to his flask just in time. And I gotta worry about the person with the Crucifix of the Mad King. And I'm feeling some pressure here because what I don't want to do is let off pressure and let one of them kill this Herald Knight, because I'm pretty well fucked if that happens. So I look back, I'm not seeing the person with the Crucifix. But in one of my first mistakes here, I don't have enough good situational awareness here, and they're able to come up and get a... Fortunately, no Hornet Ring backstab or I would have died. And here I make a mistake. I start panic rolling, which is really dumb because there's nobody else around just as the Herald Knight kills the host. That was too good. But that's one thing I still, when there's multiple people around, even if I have them on screen, I sometimes still start panic rolling, and it's something it's always a work in progress. I mean, everyone panic rolls from time to time. You just try to cut down as much of it as you can. I was actually watching a video the other day of Revan619 fighting B-dubs, and Revan actually started panic rolling. And God knows, if anyone could do it to you, it's B-dubs. But I'd never seen that before. It actually made me feel kind of good. Everybody does it, but that ended up costing me my death there. If I had just waited and rolled on reaction, I could have Estused. It didn't matter, obviously. So these guys, I see, they're coming back towards the bonfire. They'd come up where I am right now and been shot at by the angel. And I look, and I can't tell if he's just shooting at the people to my right or if there's somebody up waiting for me on my left, so I'm being a little cautious. Still have the obscuring ring on. I think I was close enough that they could have seen me, but I don't believe that they did. They're certainly not acting as if they saw me. So they start going after these guys pretty unwisely, in my view, because it sets up an awesome ambush and I'm able to pancake the mage. This Murakumo, man, it is just a guard crusher. Get some summon lag, and unfortunately I'm able to kill the host during the summon lag. So this is my last invasion, and actually I think this is probably my favorite of the whole group, and I'll explain why as we go here. So I don't see anyone down here. It looks like the angel's dead. So it appears that they've already progressed further into the level. So my next stop is to see if the pyromancer up here is alive. And I find the party, and you can tell by the way that they're moving, they are hesitant to move forward into the angel's line of fire, the other angel, without first knowing where I am. But I have the obscuring ring on. They can't see me at this distance. So they're kind of trying to figure out what they want to do. And as you can see here, their plan seems to be they're going to keep moving forward, looking behind them to see if they see me. And from their perspective, they can see all the way down this huge area. So if they don't see me, they know in their minds I'm really far behind them and it's safe to progress. And the next bonfire is right up ahead. But what they don't count on is me having the obscuring ring on. This poor host is fat rolling. Thanks for checking in, guys.